This is really quite an exciting evening, actually. We are super excited to be able to share with everybody something that has actually been about 7 or 8 months in actual development, but in the planning phase for much longer than that. So the way the call is going to proceed this evening, I'm going to give a bit of an introduction to ourselves, and then we're going to jump into the detail, as you can see, with our virtual China camp, which is, again, something that has been a long time coming. And we're just really excited to be able to make it available to everybody as we speak. So welcome. My name is Tom Camilleri. I am the CEO of True Education Partnerships. And there is a high probability that the reason that you guys are hearing about this opportunity and have been invited in at such an early stage in the launch of this program is that you or your children will be directly involved with a school based here in the UK. And 9 times out of 10, they would be working directly with us to run their Chinese sister school partnership. Now, we have been, for probably about 7 or 8 years, been successfully establishing sister school partnerships, which are government backed. So we would work and represent government in the UK, and we would essentially work with their sister city counterparts in China to establish what has become actually a leading program in the field, establishing sister school partnerships based on this foundation of sister cities. So we have really been pioneering this partnership work, and this idea of establishing partnerships is really close to our heart. And we find it is a fundamental element or criteria to a successful educational career. If we look to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, one of their targets, one of the development goals is goal number 17, which is partnerships for the goals. So if the UN are singling out partnerships being so important, then we're on the right track. So we've been running immersive educational experiences both in China and in the UK, with a real focus on providing a transformational experience for students to gain first-hand experience of really a very foreign culture. It's something that's very close to my heart, as I was very fortunate to have had a similar opportunity when I was attending secondary school. So I was one of the first British people to do the Mandarin GCSE, and later on to be one of the first, if not the first, Brit to take the Mandarin A-level. I've always had this interest in Asia and specifically China. I got the opportunity in year 9 to engage in a school immersion program in China. 3 weeks, Yunnan province, with 20 of my classmates. It was one of the most transformational experiences, one of the most important experiences of my life. It didn't just really reaffirm my complete love affair with China as a country and the culture. It really gave me a very clear direction. And so, on the return from China, as a 15-year-old boy, to have the ability to really know what my future, maybe not what it held, but certainly the direction within which I was traveling, was just an amazing gift. So my inspiration for setting these partnerships up, and the inspiration of building the company that now we have offices in Liverpool and London and Shanghai, the real motivation is how can I give that opportunity to more students in both the UK and in China? How can I be a part of this team that builds this platform for exchange? And now, obviously, we've been running it very successfully with leadership delegations and heads delegations and student exchanges backwards and forwards. But unfortunately, as we all know, 2020 has been a very unusual year. We have seen all sorts of change due to the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, and unfortunately has made international travel that little bit more tricky. So what we have really been able to do during this time of reflection, during this time where obviously it's not been possible for people to travel, themselves and to board planes and to go to these different countries and really immerse in one another's face-to-face exchange. We've spent the past 7 months really, really focusing on how do we redesign that transformational experience and transform it from a travel-based product into something that you can experience from the comfort of your home or of your school. Now, in my personal opinion, there will be nothing that can ever replace that the excitement and the connection that can be built from being in somebody's presence, studying with somebody, doing activities, going and enjoying one another's company. You will never be able to replace that. But what we can do is we can do the next best thing, which, utilizing technology, utilizing the fact that it's actually become a lot more accessible for not just schools and businesses and students, but also now parents. I believe everybody's a little bit more familiar with the online learning environment, along with the ability to interact with multiple people remotely. Now, I'm not going to pretend that everybody's got it perfectly. And again, I'm not going to pretend that it is the perfect way to do it. What I am going to say, though, is that whilst we're unable to travel, and actually, I foresee in the longer term, being able to deliver such a transformational experience in a virtual setup allows for us to reduce a lot of the costs as well. So there's some real benefits with accessibility, and there is now we're able to add another way for parents and students and teachers to really engage with one another, actually, in both these countries. Excitingly, we will have a number of other countries that are coming online into our programs over in 2021. But as we are so passionate about China, and China has been the country that we are the most established in, it's only right that we started with our virtual camp to China. So what does this camp entail, and what does it really include? So the virtual China camp program really offers a digital exploration of China. The way that we're actually able to utilize this is in a live and interactive format, peppered in with some pre-recorded footage. Now, the four main elements that we really want to focus on is that there are 2 locations that we can choose from, that the students that participate, they will have direct access and interaction with their peers in China. Really fortunately, we are able to deliver this smack bang right in the Chinese New Year celebrations. So everybody who participates are going to have a first-hand experience of what it is to be celebrating Chinese New Year in China with their buddy, with somebody of their own age group. The way that we've actually been able to design this is to make it as lifelike as possible. So you're going to be taken through the streets of either Beijing or Chengdu. You're going to see the fireworks, you're going to see the food stores, you're going to see the dragon and lion dancing, you're going to see the hubbub, the people. It's really going to be quite an amazing experience to behold. And the fourth real important part of this is through each of the elements that we've built into these itineraries, there's been a real focus on how do we explore this fascinating culture and try to integrate a number of different ways to keep it interactive, to keep it engaging and educational. So the platform that we will be using to deliver it is we're going to be using Zoom. Zoom has proven itself to be not just reliable, it's a really easy platform to use when it comes to video conferencing, when it comes to being able to integrate with large numbers of people. The ability for us to deliver a live stream option, along with the ability for our live host to bring in pre-recorded footage, show little videos that the class will be discussing, will be highlighting certain points that were being raised and are relevant in the learning cycle. Enable the class into interaction with questions and answers. There'll be a hands-on activity session that will run one time every single day. There will be a really nice blend of using Zoom for the visual and audio experience, but we'll also have a resource box that will accompany all of the sessions that will be delivered, that will really start to bring this online, offline mix of experience really into play. So there's a couple of different choices that we are able to offer at the minute for the length of the itinerary. So on top of being able to choose either Beijing being the capital or Chengdu, obviously the home of the panda, you'll be able to decide, do you want to participate for 3 days? Would you like 5 days, or would you like 7? Now, I'll go into a little bit more detail on the itinerary just shortly, but you are looking at a combination of live footage, live streamed from location, a combination of pre-recorded activities, and a lot of first-person recordings out in the field, which again, that's this time of year, to prevent bad weather, travel, all sorts of mayhem being on the road. We're going to combine a live host who will be talking with the class and walking us through the experience, and again, it's pre-recorded, all the way through to what I think is probably the most exciting part, is the student interaction, where we will be bringing Chinese counterparts onto the Zoom platform. We'll be doing games, there'll be interactive classes, there'll be an opportunity to run like University Challenged, and there'll be opportunity to have a number of different ways of interacting and really learning about one another's what styles of communication. There will be an opportunity to do all sorts of some really interesting and engaging activities to get to know one another remotely. So the way that the actual experience will unfold is, as I've said, there will be a single host that will lead us through each of the 4 activities each day. So each day you're looking around 3.5 to 4 hours of amazing content that you can dip in and out of. As I say, you will get the best experience by being live and being on camera and immersed and involved in the actual camp because of its remote nature. However, if for whatever reason you're unable to be there for the start, or you might need to drop out for an hour or so, life throws these curveballs sometimes, we're going to be able to offer you the recording, and you can jump in and out whenever necessary. So the host will actually be taking the group through the experience, and they will be either the person on the ground live streaming, talking to you about how things are progressing, where they are at in Chengdu, for example, as we see in the photos, and they'll also be walking us through some of the pre-recorded footage. So with our virtual visit to Beijing, some of the highlights of the itinerary really cover the fact that we're going to be looking at the historical capital city, with the famous Summer Palace, which you can see in picture here, with exploring some of the secrets of the Palace Museum. We look to build in a number of different elements. We didn't really want to just focus on traditional ancient China, but also we didn't want to just focus on China 2030, where one of the amazing things that, if you've been lucky enough to go, you will really be able to see these contrasting elements of ancient culture and super modern development, and the kind of contrasting palette between the two is really something to be observed. So we'll also be looking at modern Beijing with a visit to Zhongguancun. There will be a lot of folk culture that we'll be looking at. So we'll be visiting Nanwo, Wuxiang, which is an old kind of style street where there's a lot of folk culture, food, my favorite, kind of handicrafts, and really be able to see how people would have been living, hundreds of years ago. And along with a visit to the Hutong culture. Now, the Hutongs in Beijing are, if you, in your mind's eye, look back to ancient version of Beijing, where you have single-story residential buildings, they are the buildings that are basically in a square with a courtyard in the middle. And there are a number of different suburbs within, I call them suburbs, there's sections within actual central Beijing, which have been really preserved, and there are people still living there, but also they'll give us a real opportunity to see how people's styles of living have really evolved over the past couple of hundred years, actually. Moving into this international school visit, again, for me, this is one of the real highlights, being able to sit opposite from a Chinese kid based in Beijing, ask them, questions about what does their real life actually look like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? What are you interested in? What, tell me about yourself. Again, some of the real magic with our programs that we've been able to kind of curate over the years is really about, not commanding how the interaction happens, but creating an environment which really encourages the students to kind of come out of the shell and actually positively ask questions and proactively get involved. So it's, for me, it's one of the highlights. We'll also be looking at Tsinghua University, top universities in China, top 10 in the world, along with a look at the Olympic Forest Park. We will then have a quick look at Chengdu. Again, as we know, the home to the giant panda. There are a couple of elements in here which you might not be so familiar with, which is quite an exciting thing for us to be able to bring Chengdu to you guys in a little bit more detail. The first highlight here with the ancient Shu civilization and the San Xingdui culture. These are really, really interesting. Verging on the bizarre. These are old, hundreds, if not thousands of years old, models, masks, pottery that was discovered in deep caves in Chengdu that a lot of people think might actually depict extraterrestrial life. So digging into what these ancient peoples of the Chengdu region, their thoughts and their understandings of of nature and their position in the universe, it's a really, really interesting and not something you typically associate with a program learning about China. Chengdu, again, we're going to explore some of the local cuisine. It is super famous for its food. If you've had, again, the privilege of getting over there, and even in the UK, there are a number of different hot pot restaurants that you should go and have a go in. And chili is Chengdu's #1 flavor. Thankful for us, there is a whole spectrum of flavors that go along with their fascination with chili. But we will be able to investigate and explore all the different elements to their local cuisine. Three Kingdoms culture, again, this whole temple is spectacular. If I was to say that there was going to be one big negative element to you guys participating in this virtual camp, is that you're going to finish it, you're going to do the full days, and you're going to come out the other side and say, do you know what? How annoying that I can't go and be there right now. How irritating that I cannot just go and book a flight and go and see some of these magical places. Because it's, speaking from first-hand experience, China is, it's not only mystical, it really fills you with a sense of, oh, wow, there really is a different way to do this thing called life. There really is a different angle and sort of perspective on how we should be living and ways that we interact with nature and the way that we cook our food. And it's such an all-encompassing experience that, as I say, if there's anything that would be one of the downsides, that you'll probably be kicking yourself, being like, oh, I wish I could just get on that plane now. But trust me, guys, time will come. You just need to be patient. So we will also be looking at the giant panda breeding base. So we're going to go deep into seeing how the conservation activities and the breeding base work, how they feed the pandas, how they look after them, how they ensure that they are growing big, healthy, and multiplying safely. Again, we get to go and see the school campus visit. One of my favorite parts, where again, we're going to be taking you guys in to meet with peers and students in China that will be based on the school campus. We'll get to see what the school looks like. We have to get to sit and interact with students. Really interestingly, actually, with our spring festival elements, we are going to give you all a nice surprise, even though I'm going to tell you a little bit about it now. You're going to get the opportunity to go into some locals' houses, see how they celebrate, how they decorate the houses, so Chinese New Year is basically like our Christmas. And if you imagine your kind of Christmas dinner, and it's like the biggest feast of the year. Chinese New Year, the banquets that are eaten outside in restaurants and at home, the multiple generations of family will come together and they will cook more food than they possibly could eat in the 3-day period. So being able to go and see how it's prepared at home, the hand making elements of it, the kind of cultural interaction and family integration, like the real golden threads that keep a family unit together. We're going to really see it firsthand through some of these spring festival celebrations. So as I was just saying, that the itineraries, you basically can have an option of 3 ways to play. So the way this will be delivered is a 7-day full itinerary, which will start on a Saturday and roll all the way through to the Friday. You'll be on average around 4 hours per day. As I say, there'll be a combination of live and recorded, with the live elements being the earlier sessions during the day. So if I was to say anything, I would personally say one of the best things to do if you have a busy schedule during the half-term holidays, make sure that you're able to make the first couple of sessions, and then you actually have the freedom to come back to the latter ones if there's something else that you might have on during your day. So you've got an option of 3-day itinerary, 5-day, and 7-day. The pricing for the 3-day, we're looking at £149. Of course, all of these will have VAT on top of them. 5 days at £229 and 7 at £299. So with the 5-day and the 7-day, what we've been able to do is really bring in some extra elements and extra value for you also. So we have an online Mandarin learning program, which we're going to be launching at the same time. So for the 5-day itinerary, we are going to be giving you the first session of this survival Mandarin program, which we've designed essentially, and I'll show you in a second on the next slide, but we've designed this Mandarin program to really target the students' language ability strictly for their use on this camp. So it will obviously be useful for whether you be traveling or just generally learning Mandarin, but the content we've been able to curate and the way that our teachers will be delivering it is really about empowering your student, your child, to have some phrases to practice when they get to the integration. Interacting is all about expression. And what I have found being fluent in Mandarin myself is that it's not like I'm talking English in the way that I think, but just using different words. Learning and speaking Chinese provides me a complete new world of expression. The ability to really utilize some of the poetic ways that they speak and the way that they describe it, it just opens up a whole new universe of learning and of interest and of expression. So the content we've put together, we created for this kind of short program ahead of the camp is really to get all of the students and all of your children really up to speed, really confident with jumping in and just giving it a go. So for the 5-day, we've got a complimentary hour session that you guys will get with that also. And for the 7-day, which is again super exciting, is that you'll not only get that first hour of the program included, but we I want you all to get over to China. I want you all to go and experience just the amazingness. I'm not sure if that's a real word, but just the utter immersive, transformational, exciting experience of being on the ground, meeting a different culture, going all the amazing things you'll see on this camp, going and touching them, going and tasting them, going and getting involved, being able to play with, a Chinese child that has spent the past 12 years growing up in a completely different way, having the opportunity to sit with them and to really engage and learn that actually there are multiple ways of life. There are multiple ways of engaging with the world, and engaging with ourselves. So what we're doing is we're basically saying that for those of you who go for the 7-day, we are going to take off £150 of any of the travel programs that you actually engage with us over the next 12 months, which there will be a couple. So we will go into a bit more detail about those travel programs at a later date. And if you are interested there are two main programs that we will be running in 2021. One of them will be an immersive camp based in the school holidays, and another one will be an exchange program. Whichever one that you find yourself on or being drawn to, if you've done the 7-day, we will immediately take £150 off that price. So actually, you're only really going to be paying £150 for the 7-day full experience. Again, we've built this in a way which is based on affordability, but also availability of your time. The online Mandarin program. So this is really the first language focus, and I'd say really academic element of what we are looking to offer you guys. So as I was saying before, if you go for your 5-day option, you're going to get that first hour completely complimentary. So if you're looking on a one-to-one basis of £49 for that really immersive one-to-one session, you get that for free for both the 5-day and for the 7-day. If you wanted to, if you're doing the 3-day and you wanted to take on the hour yourself, then at a one-to-one basis, £49. If you didn't really need it to be a one-to-one experience and you're quite happy to be in a class with a couple of others, it'd be £23. Again, all of these prices will have VAT on top also. So the 6-week program, this is really to get you prepped and ready for that interaction, integration in with the Chinese peers. So we'll be looking at, on top of the introduction to Mandarin and survival use, but also how to introduce yourself, how to start conversations, how to really work with times and dates, be able to talk about your family, talk about food that you're enjoying, hobbies, interests, actually in visiting a school. And really on the 6th session, we're going to be bringing all of them together in a way that everybody on the program will have a high level of confidence. As soon as they get into the camp, they'll be able to bang out some of these sentences and have conversations actually in Mandarin. I can't think of anything better of your child jumping into this camp. Maybe they've had experience of Mandarin, or maybe they've had experience of Chinese or China through school, or they might have their own personal interest. But to come out the other side, not only thinking, wow, that's somewhere I've got to go to. Wow, that's a country that I've got to keep my eye on for the future. And being able to come out speaking some Chinese, I think that is, super cool. So on this program, for those of you who have registered with us, we will be sending this forward onto you. So you've got a load of links here with how to go and join the program, which I will show in a little bit more detail here. A couple of deadlines though. 30th of October, really need you to be booking your place on the virtual China camp. As I say, this really is, you guys are getting the first access to this. We, as of earlier this year, have been able to engage with the entire world. So through our Global School Alliance, we now work with, soon to be almost 1,000 schools around the world in 50 different countries. So you guys are the top of the list for getting involved with the program, but I can only hold it for you until the 30th of October, and then it's going to be opening up to the rest of the world. So if it's something that you are interested in, then please go right ahead and get onto that link. Language program, again, shortly after, on the 1st of November, is a real deadline for kind of getting booked onto that, because the way it will run, we're delivering this camp in the February half term, and we'd like to give you some run up. Essentially, the way we've planned it is you're going to do probably a language session a week, and obviously we've got Christmas over, and New Year to deal with. So to give yourselves enough time for your children to really get up to speed and comfortable with the Mandarin learning, we're looking for a deadline of the 1st of November. So if we jump over to what the websites look like. So if you are to go and follow these links, or you can search for True Education Partnerships, see what we're all about, learn a little bit more about the organization that's running these things. What we're looking for is school programs, online Mandarin. So this is the site that you want to go to learn, get more detail about what the program would entail. You get to learn a bit more about our teachers and how we delivered, a little bit about why. Bit more of a breakdown of what the content looks like, and some FAQs around how practically it would kind of look like, the length of the sessions, when they'll be running, how you get booked on. There'll be all the onboarding process kind of explained there. This is the best place to come on to join. Again, love to see you all on there. Same principle with the virtual camp. Even if you just do a Google search for True Education Partnerships, it's the quickest and easiest way is to click on the virtual camp button up top. It'll bring you to this page where you will basically be able to book your place or learn a little bit more about what the program is, a little bit from myself, real breakdown of some of the key elements that are included, give you an opportunity to look into a lot more detail about the itinerary. So you see here for Beijing, you'll see the 2 hours in the morning and then the afternoon, exactly what you'll be doing. Exactly the sort of content will be covered, and then the opportunity to book yourselves on is just down here directly for you to choose. Again, these are the initial schools that have come on a while back now. We've got a real kind of landslide of other schools around the country that are kind of vying to get involved, which has been a really, really, really positive experience for all involved. We're super excited to kind of get the program going. So there we are. These are the 2 links that you want to be getting into, as I say, the virtual camp via the website, or to learn Mandarin online. I would love to see whether, Tony, that we have any questions that have come up. Not to point. Okay, perfect. So what will happen next, guys, is that you will all get an email sent out with the PowerPoint that we've just gone through, with a couple of the links on. As I say, we will be in close communication with your school communities. If you are coming to sign up independently, and it's something that you're taking on yourself, high five, well done. Please, you'll find all the information here. And if not, feel free just to get in contact with us. You can get in contact directly through the site, or you can come and find us on our social media channels. So again, anything that you would like to see, Twitter's probably the easiest one to come through to. So we look forward to seeing all of you on the camp in the coming weeks. Thank you ever so much, and we will look to finish up now. Catch you on the flip side.